All right, I'm all packed up and I'm saying goodbye to my room here at the Wisma Flamboyant Hotel in Payakumbuh, and I'm riding to Bukittinggi today. And as I'm leaving this room, I'll leave you with one pro tip. When I checked in, I discovered one of these scent dispensers. It's like a room sanitizer on a timer, and it sprays out some very strong smelling, sanitizing aroma every few minutes, which I find a bit much because it sprays right onto the bed. So what I did was actually just take it off the wall, and I pulled the batteries out for the time that I've been staying here. And then now that I'm leaving, I put the batteries back in. So don't tell anyone. Video camera. Yeah, it's a GoPro. And, yeah, well, I make some videos about my trips. I see that you have a shirt on from Mandiri.
Yes.
Did you used to work at Mandiri Bank?
36 years I worked there.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. And now what do you do? Are you the owner of this hotel?
Yes, I'm owner.
You're the owner? Ah, nice to meet you.
I have retired 7 years ago.
Oh, okay. That's it?
We will see you next time.
Okay, I'll see you next time. Yeah, you too. So that's it. I'm on the road, leaving from the Wisma Flamboyant. Very glad I ended up staying here. I had a very good experience with everything to do here. And just now I was chatting with a man who turns out to be the owner. Oh, here he is coming up behind me. What is your name?
Winton.
Winton.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's a very busy street. Thank you. Yeah, the owner came out to sort of guide me across the busy traffic. That was very nice of him. I noticed he was wearing a shirt from the Mandiri Bank, and he said that he worked there for, I think he said 23 years, and then he retired 7 years ago, and in his retirement, maybe he opened up the hotel. I hadn't had a chance to chat with him during my time here, so it's too bad. Very nice guy. Wow. I say wow because I didn't really see that before. I've been walking around this town a little bit, but maybe I wasn't looking up or the light wasn't quite right. I'm looking in that direction and there's a solid wall of mountain ahead of me. But, okay, I'm guessing that could be the volcano, Marapi, covered by cloud. Let me turn the GoPro around. Wow, it looks like something from a Steven Spielberg movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, when the massive mothership came in. Or maybe, who knows, I've seen so many science fiction movies, I get them mixed up. But the spaceships are always so huge, they're covered in their own cloud system, and then they kind of break through the cloud as they come down. That's what this looks like ahead of me. As always, on the ultra-wide angle of the GoPro, probably does not look as impressive as I described it, but with my eyes it looks very cool. Yeah, the volcano, it's called Marapi, and you have to be careful not to confuse it with the volcano in Java, which is called Merapi with an E. This one is Marapi with an A, and I believe it means mountain of fire. I read this morning that it's the most active volcano in Sumatra. I just stopped to reconfirm some of the details. I want to get it exactly right. So this volcano, as I said, is Mount Merapi, Mountain of Fire, and it is 2,891.3 meters high, and that's 9,485.9 feet. So just shy of 10,000 feet. And of course, there is no way I'm going to be going up and over any kind of volcano today. I don't need to get to Bukittinggi. I'm starting at an elevation of 500 meters in here in Payakumbuh, and I'll be ending the day at Bukittinggi at 900 meters. So I'll be climbing 400 meters today. Oh, big lineup here, waiting for gas. Let's ride through the gas station just to capture this scene on video. I wonder why. It's so busy. Look at that. All these scooters lined up. It's a lot of people getting gas. More and more joining the lineup all the time. Couldn't imagine why. It's astonishing, as I always note, what a big difference a little bit of altitude makes. On every morning until now, simply getting my bike ready puts me in a tremendous sweat. Like I'll step out of my bathroom after a nice cool shower. I'm fresh, ready to go. But by the time I actually start pedaling, I'm drenched in sweat before I've even gone 1 meter. And what I often do is, after my bike is packed up and ready to go, I'll go back to my room and take one more shower, within seconds of getting back on the bike, just to maximize the cool factor before I start riding. But here in Payakumbuh, I didn't need to do that. After my bike was all packed up, I was standing there and I was surprised to note I was feeling cool and fresh. And that's because I'm at 500 meters. This is the way to live. Yeah, this volcano, based on pictures that I've seen, doesn't have a classic cone shape. It isn't a perfectly symmetrical cone or anything like that. It's a little bit more spread out, I think. And you might look at it and think it's more of a typical mountain rather than a typical volcano. And if I have my geography straight in my head, we're riding towards the volcano now, but eventually the road is going to shy away from the volcano and turn to the right, and then I'll be riding along the edge of the volcano to get to Bukittinggi. Morning garbage collection. Reminds me of the guys that I saw loading up a truck with split rock and gravel because they were packing very carefully. These guys were also very careful packers, so they could carry as much garbage in one load as possible. They weren't just tossing the bags in there willy-nilly. I've just reached the edge of town, I believe. And wow, Belgian waffles. Everywhere I've looked this morning, I've seen amazing breakfast places. Breakfast is always, even though I don't have breakfast very often, it's by far my favorite meal of the day when I do have it. And a place like this, I wish I could have 10 breakfasts, just stop in each place. But yeah, as I was saying, I just reached the edge of town, and as soon as I hit the edge, the road started to climb. So I don't think there will be any dramatic climbs, but it's going to be, you know, long periods of steady climbing. Well, just checking in on my journey to Bukittinggi. It's not quite the road I was expecting. I suppose I wasn't thinking clearly, because this road is connecting 3 somewhat major cities: Padang, Bukittinggi, and Payakumbuh. And of course, Bukittinggi, I think, is the largest one in this area. And so yeah, there's going to be a lot of traffic going back and forth from Payakumbuh to Bukittinggi. So it's been a much busier ride than I expected. Monkeys here, by the way. There's sort of a garbage pile over there, and a bunch of monkeys are running back and forth. You'll see them behind me on the left. And you can hear them too. Well, at least you used to be able to hear them. The road is also, yeah, it's weird how as soon as you get to a river and a bridge over a river, that's where everyone decides to throw garbage out of their cars. I don't know why that is. I guess they think sort of a human nature. Like there's a cliff there, and if you manage to get your garbage over the cliff down to the river, then you can't see it anymore, right? Out of sight, out of mind. And then once a bit of garbage collects, everybody gets the idea, and more and more and more starts to gather. And then the monkeys come. But yeah, somehow in my head, I was picturing a very empty road heading through. I mean, it is scenic, clearly, as you can see. I'm heading through a lot of bamboo and jungle, rivers on my left. But you don't really notice it that much when your head is down and you're pedaling uphill, and you're trying very hard to keep your bike straight, because if you swerve in any direction, you're going to be hit by one of these trucks or fast-moving buses. There's a lot of mini buses going back and forth, and they're quite challenging. They do a lot of stopping and starting to pick people up, and they pull over to the side of the road to wait for passengers. But they don't pull over all the way to get off the road. They leave half the bus on the road, blocking the way, and everybody has to swerve around them. Creates a bit of a log jam. So anyway, yeah, a lot going on this road in terms of traffic. A lot more than I was expecting. And I was also expecting a more of an expansive sort of views of the volcano and the mountains around here. But we're following, right now anyway, fairly narrow river valley, so there's hills on all sides, so you don't get to see beyond the the immediate hills. But still enjoyable. It's been an interesting ride, that's for sure. Truck ahead, truck behind. You can really feel the drop in temperature. I think I've climbed up 200 meters maybe, and there's been a lot of wind. That's another thing about this bike ride so far. I don't remember encountering much wind, if any. Today has been the windiest day by far. It makes me feel like I'm approaching the ocean, like coming over the hills and coming on my way down to the ocean on the other side. For some reason, I always think of the wind as coming off the ocean. But yeah, I'd almost say it's getting cold up here. And I noticed the other day when I was looking for a hotel in Bukittinggi, you started to see hot water being listed, which you didn't see anywhere else. I mean, if you look at, if they describe a hotel, it would never occur to them really to mention that they have hot water or not. Because down on the lowlands, it doesn't matter. You don't need hot water. The air is hot enough. But I guess once you get to Bukittinggi, when people wake up in the morning for their morning shower, they're in a pretty cold air, and they look forward to a bit of hot water in the bathroom. And if you don't have hot water, I guess you wake up real fast. In terms of logistics, I guess I have a little bit of a story to tell, because I ended up spending an extra day in Payakumbuh because I realized, well, I found out through, there's a woman that I met on the road back when I stayed in my tent that one night, and we've been chatting on WhatsApp, and she put me in touch with her husband, who is currently in Padang. So I was talking to him, and he gave me a whole bunch of really useful information, including the fact that I don't need to go to Padang to go to the international airport. There are buses and like minivans and things that go directly from Bukittinggi directly to the airport, which kind of makes sense. And I never thought about that. So my original plan was to somehow go to Padang, spend a night or two there, and then go from my hotel in Padang to the airport. And this, by the way, is not the end of this bike ride. I'm leaving my bike there, and then I'm hoping to come back to Indonesia in about a week and get a new tourist visa, another 30 days. But you have to leave the country in order to do that. But since I can go directly from Bukittinggi, that's what I decided to do. So I just have to get to Bukittinggi, and then I can take a bus in the morning directly from my hotel to the airport. And then when I come back, I'll just do the reverse, get a bus. Hello. Directly from the airport back to Bukittinggi. I'll eventually go to Padang, but it makes life a lot easier to do it this way because Padang is down at sea level and Bukittinggi is up at 900 meters. So if I was doing all of that by bicycle, it'd take a lot more time. Anyway, so I spent one extra day in Payakumbuh, and then I booked a hotel in Bukittinggi for 3 nights, going right up to the date of my flight. So I have a hotel waiting for me. I was very careful this time not to book an Oyo hotel. I looked at a couple of Oyo hotels, the listings, and then you look at them on Google Maps, and the reviews on Google Maps repeat the same story that you see all over the place now with Oyo, that guests are showing up with reservations they booked online, and then the hotels won't accept those reservations, and they have to pay a second time in cash, and then they can't get a refund. Seems to be something new. Oh, but finish that story, I guess, before I move on. I booked a room at a Red Doors hotel. Now, I don't know anything about Red Doors, but it strikes me as perhaps the Indonesian version of Oyo, sort of an umbrella company that offers, a Red Doors branding to like low-budget hotels that meet their standards. And I guess Red Doors offers them, a certain amount of logistical help and, bookings and things like that, and marketing in exchange for listing their hotels on the Red Doors network. So, yeah, it's a Red Doors hotel. Took me a while, to zero in on this hotel. I was having a lot of trouble finding one that fit all of my requirements. In terms of location, style, sort of an open, spacious feeling, and an economical price. And then I was just about to give up, really. I was going to have to pick a hotel that didn't strike me as particularly suitable. I didn't seem to have a choice. And then out of the blue, I stumbled across this one. And it's actually in downtown Bukittinggi, near the famous clock tower. It is amazing how much that clock tower has become a tourist attraction. I'm sure it's a nice enough clock tower, but I don't know how it can deserve the reputation it has. But yeah, it's a big draw at Bukittinggi. Everybody's got to go see the clock tower, so I guess I will too. And it's a real selling point for this hotel. That it's relatively close to the clock tower. But I like this hotel because it is, downtown. I always like that. Yeah, when you look at the hotel on the online listings, that's even included in the name of the hotel. It's a Red Doors something or something near the clock tower. I mean, that's the name of the hotel. And this place looks to be large enough and have enough, you know, parking space and just sort of hallway space and things around it that I got the impression that I'll be able to leave my bike there without too much trouble. You know, I'll have to ask them if I can do that. If it's like a tiny hotel jammed into a whole bunch of buildings that are packed tightly together, then it might not be an option to leave something like my bike behind for a week. So I wanted to find a hotel that was a bit larger, a bit more spacious, a bit of elbow room, a bit of bicycle room, as it were. And I think I found one. I was going to say that I've noticed a few changes today in particular, leaving from Payakumbuh and starting to climb up towards Bukittinggi. There's suddenly a lot more dogs. And there's something special about these dogs, because I even see a lot of motorcycles that have dog cages attached. Like on both sides of the seat, there's like a wired cage, maybe that was originally designed to carry chickens or something like that. But they'll have 2 dogs on their motorbike, one inside each cage. And they're, you know, they're big, healthy looking dogs that look like they could be used for hunting or tracking or something like that. I don't know. And maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe they have a tradition of hunting and they use dogs for that. And I've come across quite a number of dogs on leashes and chains at houses. And again, they're fairly large, healthy looking animals, clearly well cared for. And they look like working dogs, like they have a job to do. And the other change I've noticed is that ever since I entered West Sumatra, the convenience stores have disappeared. There are no Indomarets and no Alfamarts here. I haven't seen a single one. And I remember running into that before in northern Sumatra. There were areas where the regional government put in place a law saying that these big chains, the convenience store chains, were just not allowed to operate there. They couldn't open up any locations. And of course, they did that because of pressure put on them by local shopkeepers who can't compete with Indomaret and Alfamart. And they don't want to lose customers or go out of business because of them. So, yeah, this whole area, there's no Indomarets, no Alfamart. And I feel the loss myself because, yeah, I find them to be extremely convenient and they carry a lot of products that I'm accustomed to that you don't find in local stores. So, for example, I would just buy instant coffee, you know, like Nestle instant coffee or something like that, in big bags of it at Alfamart or Indomaret. But I haven't found it anywhere else. And spaghetti sauce I could find there, but I can't find it anywhere else. And of course, they always offered nice seating outside, which was very convenient for me. I haven't seen very much of this kind of rice field scenery, but there's a little bit of it on my right. So I thought I'd aim the GoPro in that direction for a little bit as I ride along. Just completed a very long, steady climb uphill and reached a a bit of a flat area. Surprisingly cold up here. Feels very refreshing on my bare legs and arms. I don't have the usual sweat, running down my face in rivulets, going into my eyes and dripping off my chin. Even while climbing uphill, I didn't start sweating at all. I'm riding along in dry clothes, pretty unusual. Hello, how are you? Canada. Yeah, Canada. Yeah. Ooh. Just going to Bukittinggi and Padang. Yeah. Single, yeah, just me. Yeah, sendiri.
Ya, sendiri. Ya.
Satu orang sepeda.
Ya.
Sepeda. Dari mana? Bukittinggi? For you. Oh, here. Ah, here. Di sini.
Ya,
Di sini. There. Well, I stopped at this restaurant behind me for my favorite, mie ayam bakso. I'm about 11 kilometers away from my guest house, and I just got back on the bike to complete the ride. Very poor timing because, yeah, it just started to rain right now, which is not great. It's a very misty kind of rain, but I think I have to put my GoPro and my microphones away, keep everything nice and dry for the rest of the ride. Maybe I'll catch up with you when I'm at my guest house, because from here into town, to be honest, I don't think there's going to be anything to see. The volcano has been covered by cloud all day. The mountains have been covered by clouds, and there's been nothing but heavy traffic on this road, and it's just going to get worse from here all the way into town. So not much point recording the rest of this trip, I don't think. It's not going to be a very pleasant video experience. We'll see. Who knows, maybe the rain will stop in the next 10 seconds. Well, I have arrived. I didn't end up recording my arrival in Bukittinggi just because the weather got worse and worse and worse. The rain got heavier and heavier. The wind picked up. It was like sheets of rain, just whoosh, because of the heavy wind, and just soaked everything. I stopped at the side of the road for a little bit, put on all the rain covers, and put away my GoPro. I mean, the GoPro itself is waterproof, but I have microphones attached to it and the media mod, and those are not waterproof, so I have to put them away. And put everything away, just put my head down and just rode into the rain, into town. So here I am. I'm already checked into my hotel. Yeah, things worked out fine. I found it. I kind of wish I had a camera running during my arrival, because I had the hotel picked out easily on Google Maps. I knew how to get here. And at one point I got to an intersection. I had to turn left to go down this road and come to here. But what I didn't realize is that it was a narrow market road. I mean, that road went right through the center of the main vegetable fruit market for this area, and it went on for a long time with all the tarpaulins over top, being held up by ropes. But everything is held at this height because I'm a bit taller than the average person in Indonesia. So I'm like, it was really hard getting through there with my bike. It was so crowded. It was just a mess with the rain pouring down and the tarpaulins and the rope catching me under the chin. It was pretty crazy. I wish I caught that on a video. So yeah, it was a bit of a mess when I got here. And yeah, but I found the place, no problem. And my room is up on the 2nd floor. And there didn't seem to be any convenient place to leave anything outside. So I just brought everything in, as you can see. I've got my bike up here with me. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm going to give it a good cleaning and dry it off. This is my room. I've got a chair and a table, TV, double bed. Got my other bags up here. Yeah, nice enough room. One thing I didn't realize, though, is that in Bukittinggi, as a rule, you don't get an air conditioner because they consider it to be so cold up here that you don't need it. So actually, I was surprised when I moved into this room. And the first thing I wanted to do was turn on the air conditioner because I was so hot. And of course, air conditioners also dry the air, right? They're like dehumidifiers and it will dry everything nicely. But there is no air conditioner here. And I thought at first maybe they just gave me the wrong room, but it turns out that none of the rooms here have air conditioners. So that's the deal. Interestingly, which I didn't realize, I don't think the listing even said anything about it. This room has a balcony. So that will be handy. I will probably put my bike out here once I unpack and get organized. So there's my neighborhood. And there's the parking area. I mean, I could leave my bike out there, but it would just be rained on the entire time. So I'm in kind of a residential area, except that you can't see it from here, but the main market is right over there, just on the other side of these houses. So kind of a busy area. Little restaurant right across the road there. And this is a Red Doors hotel. The very first Red Doors hotel that I've ever stayed in. But yeah, that's where we are. This is nice. Have a balcony. Yeah. And I guess, to be honest, that's it for today's small adventures. I'm just going to unpack and relax, find something to eat, I suppose. But in terms of riding from Payakumbuh to here, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think it's gonna take a while for Bukittinggi to grow on me. It's an odd thing because I'm here. I mean, I called this series of videos, the road to Bukittinggi, because the town of Bukittinggi was my destination. And I had an image in my mind of a beautiful place up in the mountains. I had a certain image of what that place would be like, and that was, driving me forward to get to Bukittinggi. But now that I'm here, it feels like Payakumbuh, that was my town. I mean, there I really had the feeling of I'd arrived somewhere special. I'd come through the mountains, beautiful scenery, and I was in this really pleasant town, a very interesting town, really interesting neighborhood, great little hotel. That was sort of like, this was my destination. This is where I wanted to get to. Because now, like I said, here in Bukittinggi, so far it just feels like a really big city. I rode for 10 kilometers through urban sprawl just to arrive here. And I don't have a sense of the town yet. I think over time, I guess it will grow on me, but I don't know anything about it yet. I've come straight to my hotel and that's it. But right now, that's the feeling I have, that the end of this ride to come here could have ended in Payakumbuh. I think that had more of that feeling of, okay, this is a nice place that I arrived in. But who knows? Bukittinggi might become that place for me over time. We'll see. All right, time to unpack, and I'll report back later in the next video and find out what I think of the town of Bukittinggi.